That's my favorite new song. I haven't heard it in fucking forever.
It's my favorite new song. We just got to throw a little Drake over the top. That would go.
I'm just saying you could do better. Because y'all could do better.
But they could do better.
Y'all could do better. That was uninspiring. But it's a win, baby.
Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils Show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, even leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by Shawn DePaz. Shane Diefenbach is joining us tonight in the chat.
Yeah,
this man is still over at the Senior Bowl. And guys, it is time to meet us on Mill for the first time in a minute because ASU basketball did the thing. They beat Oregon State 68-57. The Pac-12 skid has stopped. Shawn, immediate reaction to just getting a W.
Oh, man, it felt good because I was getting ready. I was getting ready to bring out the pitchforks. Not the good kind. I'm talking the ones that come with torches.
Ooh.
And run Bobby out of town. I was getting there. After that first half, I was getting nervy. But I mean, ASU is just a better team than Oregon State. I think you saw that tonight. Nothing about ASU's performance necessarily inspiring. But they were just more talented, and I think you saw. They saw more. They're more athletic. I think head to toe a better team than Oregon State. So the first half worried me. It looked like we were getting more of the same, just kind of unenergetic, uninspired. But I think they kind of whatever Bobby said at halftime, I think helped, and they turned it around. They seemed like they had more energy. We got I feel like the first Cambridge to Cambridge alley-oop we've seen in a while. In the second half, it was just nice to know that those 4 losses it wasn't like cancerous, I guess. It didn't extend on any further than, because after that first half, I was like, oh man, this might be over. Like it might all be over the season. Like they might have to win the Pac-12 championship if we want to see them play in March. I still think that might even be the case, honestly, but they got the dub. Yeah. So I'm not going to try to get too negative. A win's a win, and they need it. Super important.
They got DJ Horne back tonight. Yeah. Kind of.
Physically.
5 points tonight. Again, not the most phenomenal shooting night for DJ Horne. 2 of 10 from the field, only those 5 points. Again, all of them coming in the first half. So he continues his offensive struggles. Frankie Collins, though, had a good night tonight. 13 points, 2 boards, 4 assists. It was nice to see him, too. I feel like we've been kind of begging for him to have a decent scoring night paired with a game where he was, I guess, playing the role. What's the word I'm looking for? Facilitator.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. So tonight he did that. 13 points, 4 assists. He played his role. Warren Washington was efficient tonight. 8 points, 4 of 8 from the field. And then the Cambridge brothers. Obviously, the Cambridge brothers. ASU doesn't win this game without them tonight. And I think at this point in the season, you can confidently say that these 2 guys are the reason that ASU is where they're at.
100%.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal because you got two different kinds of players in the Cambridge brothers, right? You've got Des, who's the quote-unquote scorer who can go create his own shot. But you look at what he did tonight from the field, right? Obviously, the 18 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals.
Yeah.
Like,
it's well-rounded.
He's him.
He's the most important person on this team.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really up for debate anymore, but yeah, it's just that really is the difference. We talk about it a lot, but the difference between this year's team and last year's team is the energy and the attitude. And they've been lacking that energy and attitude for for 4 games. Well, now 3 games really. And for the first half tonight, and I think those 2 were kind of the reason that it came back. In addition to Frankie, but I mean, we saw that alley-oop, and we joke about the game starting once we see a Devin Cambridge dunk, but it's kind of what it felt like. It seemed like the energy, you saw that energy kind of get injected back into this ASU team, which is really good. They're so invaluable. I think at this point, Des is the only one that you can trust to show up on any given night, which is nice because last year I don't know that there was anybody you could trust to show up on any given night. So Absolutely. At least you have one. And Joe, bringing up the point, we were a point away, and I don't want to say we were rooting against Devin Cambridge, but we were rooting against Devin Cambridge. And there was one point where he had a chance, and he got an offensive foul, and he got another chance, it got stripped from him, and we were, because the win was in the bag at that point. I was just like, fucking, let's go, keep him off the court, keep him away from the basket.
Bench him.
One point away. I'm glad we didn't, because it wouldn't have been right to have to do it and then wait for Shane to take his on Saturday, but it also wouldn't have been right for us to wait until Saturday, so I'm glad.
Wasn't the last time Shane was gone, too? Yes. They got close again.
I think it was a point away again. I think Dev was a point away again, yeah.
That's crazy.
I think we didn't, but I can't believe we've gotten this far into the show without mentioning the most important player of the game, Alonzo Gaffney.
There you go.
I mean, he did a thing. Literally one positive thing, and it was a nice change of pace.
4 points, baby.
4 whole points.
2 blocks.
2 whole blocks. 4 whole rebounds, and only 2 fouls. He only fouled 2 times. I'll take that any day of the week, Alonzo Gaffney. Any day of the goddamn week.
Positive plus minus, too.
But he was positive plus minus. Let's go.
Third highest on the team.
Let's go, Alonzo.
Look at him go. Look at him go. The praying mantis for the dub. Let's get into the numbers of tonight's game. Obviously, the only one that matters is that final score, 68-57 in favor of the Sun Devils. You look at the way these two teams shot tonight from the field. ASU slightly better than Oregon State, 46.8 to the Beavers, 40.8%. In terms of behind the arc shooting, ASU shooting better than they normally do, or at least better than they have the last handful of games at 38.9%. Oregon State not far behind at 33.3%. This is the number that stands out to me, and I know you brought it up before the show even started. ASU got to the line plenty tonight, 17 of 26 to Oregon State's 9 of 14. Then the assist numbers, the Beavers out-assisting Arizona State in terms of buckets, 18-10. But Shawn, let's get to the free throw numbers. We haven't seen ASU get to the line this often this season.
No, they average 19 and a half free throws per game, free throw attempts per game, which is more than I thought. But still, that ranks 249th in the country, which is not good. Like it's something that we have pointed to a number of times.
It's free points.
It's free points, yeah. No, I mean, not with this team because they do not make their free throws.
Exactly.
They're 149th in the country in free throw percentage. But still, you would rather you got to get to the line and force them to at least get guys in foul trouble, anything. It's something we talked about a lot is their aggressiveness, their inability to get to the line. And that changed tonight. And ultimately, I think was a pretty big difference, especially in the second half. To see them be able to do that is so encouraging because I think so often, like, part of the problem with this team is just that they don't ever change. Every game kind of seems the same, and it's just a whether or not the buckets fall. But this seemed a little different. Like they had good assist numbers. They got to the line. I like it. That's all I could say is even if you're not making them, I would much rather you at least get the opportunity to try them than not even attempt to attack the paint. Especially when this team struggles as often as they do to shoot. You gotta at least have that as a backup plan. At least know that you can. All right, the 3-pointers aren't falling. Let Frankie drive. Get the ball down low to Warren Washington, who is not a great free throw shooter, but still, like, you gotta at least have that in your back pocket. The ability to get to the line, but they haven't for much of the season. The fact that they did today is encouraging to me.
Yeah, I think the most encouraging thing for me from tonight's game is the defense. Kind of coming back to life. You look at this Oregon State team. This is a team that we were kind of impressed with the last time that these two teams played. I know ASU won, but Oregon State showed a lot of life. You look at the way ASU played defense specifically down the stretch in this game. Oregon State finished 0 of 5 from the field and didn't score a field goal for almost the last 5 minutes of the game. Odds are you are going to win when you hold your opponent to no points or no field goals made in the last 4 minutes and change of a basketball game. So, and they did it on their home court, right? So I know this Oregon State team is not a good one, but this game specifically, this matchup came at a perfect time for ASU. We've talked about the Pac-12 skid and how tonight's game was really, I don't want to say like the breaking point, but if you lose this game, your season looks much different. And the conversation changes drastically if you drop this game.
I mean, in the first half, I said it to anybody that would listen. If Bobby loses this game, it's over for me. Like if Bobby lost this game, I was ready to start calling for his job. Like you can't lose 5 straight in conference, one of them being to one of the worst teams in the conference in Oregon State. Like that it was talking about it with Damon earlier. It's just straight up unacceptable, in my opinion. So the win was very, very important. And getting to like kind of just being at your home court, like there weren't a whole lot of people there tonight, and I can't say that I don't understand. You lose 4 straight games. ASU fans who have been through a lot with this program naturally are going to get going to have a little bit of a trauma response to that. And
he showed
start
up,
sheltering. He did. So it's important in this situation when it seems like the support that you had in the beginning of the season and just everything, it started to slip away. It was important to get a win, and Joe's kind of referencing it. It was important to stay in the hunt for a first round bye because you lose this game, it's looking real hairy. Now you got Saturday, you're playing an Oregon team that you're going to be competing for. What, that it's hairy?
Yeah, I just don't like it.
Why, you don't like hair?
I just don't like it. It's getting hairy. Like, what does that even mean? What does that even mean?
Kind of the point. It makes you uncomfortable, right?
Is that what the saying is for?
Yeah, it was an uncomfortable situation. I don't know where it came from.
Well,
I'm
I'll
just
tell
saying.
you, it's getting hairy.
It got hairy, regardless of where the phrase came from. It got hairy. It's getting hairy just in general. But now you got a chance to play an Oregon team that you're competing for that fourth spot, most likely. Utah lost tonight, so this was a big win. It was a big win for a lot of different reasons, from just a morale standpoint, for your season standpoint. Is the only thing keeping you kind of in that hunt to make a splash in March.
Things are getting hairy means to become stressful or unnerving. Still a lot of tension between them because of the divorce, so things might get a bit hairy if we leave them alone with each other. Why? I just don't understand where it came from. Like, who's just like, yeah.
Damon was the only one that heard that.
I heard it. I just didn't want to get into your parents' divorce again.
As soon as divorce came up, I was like, oh, here we go.
I didn't bring it up this time, but at this point, you can't bring up divorce and my parents not come up. Like, I don't know.
Let's talk about Burrito Express. Why don't we?
Would have saved my parents' marriage. A good burrito.
Burrito Express. It'll save your marriage. Guys, buy a $25 Burrito Express gift card. You guys are going to get a free burrito. Personally, I'm feeling the steak and egg as of late. I like to add a little bacon. The tomatoes go crazy. And personally, I think the onions.
The onions are the pièce de résistance. Shout out Leon Marchand.
There you go. Guys, head over to your nearby Burrito Express location today. They got locations all over the valley. And why don't you go ahead and give them a follow on social media at BurritoEXP while you're at it.
I don't know what Shane's sighing at. I have to imagine that it has something to do with the divorce. But the thing is like I said, I didn't bring up the divorce. He did.
I didn't take technically it was part of the Google read.
Fair.
I didn't do it.
Fair, but I was saying I was the one that brought it up. You can't get mad at me for someone else bringing up Syracuse and then me start talking about.
I feel like
Jim
nobody.
Boeheim.
No, but you just brought up.
But that's my point. I've clearly got some things at this point, and if you trigger those things, you can't get mad at me for talking about them. You can't be like, oh, start talking about the 2016 MAC champion, and then be like, oh, Buffalo. Like anyways, I didn't bring up my parents' divorce, but I am bringing up Four Peaks,
there you go.
The best beer in the goddamn state. They got some new beers, recreational juice dank IPA and a staycation super juicy IPA. So if you're an IPA guy, Four Peaks is for you. And if you're not an IPA guy, Four Peaks is also for you. If you're an IPA girl, Four Peaks is for you. If you're an IPA person, Four Peaks is for you. And if you're not, it's still for you. They've got all kinds of beers. They're amazing. And their food, man, woman, child, will love it. They're tendies. Like, the tendies are every person's food. Everyone loves tendies. You grow up as a kid eating tendies. You get an adult, you still like your tendies. Best tendies are at Four Peaks, so check them out. And the Super Bowl is right around the corner, so you can enjoy a good Four Peaks beverage during the game. I am going to be sipping on Shane in the chat talking about my parents' divorce again. Not me bringing it up. Anyways, I'm going to be sipping on probably some Golden Lager. Maybe a day drinker. What time does the Super Bowl start, you know?
I'm going to be drunk by the time kickoff,
hey,
so that's where I'm going.
You know what Drake said? You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. And I'm going to be starting with a day drinker.
It's Thirsty Thursday, man. Like, y'all should be cracking one open now.
I'm talking about the Super Bowl, but it's
5 o'clock somewhere.
It's Super Bowl Sunday somewhere. All the time is a construct.
Okay.
Four Peaks, getting in it. Four Peaks, get it in ya.
I love your ad reads.
There's chaos.
It is. It surely is chaos, but it fits the show.
But tell me you're not engaged.
No, I am.
You want me to tell you to go eat illegal Pete's for the health of you, like Max told me to say, or do you want me to be chaos and enjoy it?
Nah, I like the chaos, to be honest with you.
This is what we do.
Chaos goes crazy.
Don't advertise with us if you don't want it to be advertised by PHNX _Sun Devils.
Chaos
is what you get with
we
us.
love it. Some good chaos tonight from the Cambridge brothers, and that is why they are tonight's bottle service winners. The Cambridge Bros combined for 32 of ASU's 68 points tonight, 11 boards, and I know Devin Cambridge, 4 of his rebounds were offensive rebounds, so they were huge, and then 4 combined steals for the brothers as well. Shawn, these two, it feels like, I don't want to say they're the only ones, but it is clear night in and night out how much they are growing as players.
Yeah.
Every single game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing Des, just like what it's like for him to be that guy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know a whole lot about his situation prior to ASU, so I can't really speak about those teams there. But here, playing with your brother, playing with a coach like Bobby Hurley, who clearly just instills a bunch of confidence in his team, and playing on a team where I guess up until this stretch of games when the energy hasn't seemed quite right. Prior to that, the energy seemed like it was unbelievable. Like the vibes on the team seem like they're unbelievable. It seems like you are seeing two guys who are finally in situations to succeed. Like they're taking advantage of the situation, and like you said, they're growing every day. Especially Dev, we talked about it a bunch. A guy that was never expected to be a scorer, showing up and being the second leading scorer on the team in a win.
Yeah,
like that's a W. Getting that out of him, and then just like we talked about earlier, the moments where you get them passing to each other, the alley oops, the Cambridge oops, like those. That's the difference. Is the energy that those two bring. Is the difference in this team and last year's team. Yeah, they're invaluable. And then you mentioned the offensive rebounds. Like rebounding has been a struggle for this team in general, but especially offensively. It's not. So you didn't see them get a whole lot of second chance opportunities. If you did, it was probably Duke Brennan, to be honest with you, because that man's a dog.
Yeah. Six of the Cambridge brothers' total 11 rebounds tonight were offensive.
That's crazy.
Second chance points, man. They're absolutely huge. And just when we looked at the numbers earlier, right, we talked about how the free throw numbers really was what stuck out to us. Mm-hmm. And the Cambridge brothers tonight attempted 14 of those 26 free throws. So two guys that not only do I have confidence in just shooting the basketball, but also driving to the basket, forcing contact, and getting to the free throw.
Yeah, and I mean, Dev went 4 for 6, Des 7 for 8, so they made most of them too, which is huge. And yeah, I think. Yeah, I mentioned Frankie and Warren being guys that can get you to the paint. Dev is another guy. He is so energetic and so like just hard-headed almost. Like the energy that he plays with is going to force people to foul him in a lot of situations, especially when he's getting these offensive rebounds, mixing it up on the boards. Like he's going to get opportunities to go to the line. So that is to have that in your back pocket. I think Dev is like a massive wild card. When, especially if this whole team is playing well, and I know Joe and S in the chat, who's the second option on this team. If you are looking at this team from a scouting report perspective, and especially if things kind of balance out percentage-wise and stuff like that, like you're going to look at this team and be like, all right, Des is your number one option.
Yeah.
Then it's Dev, or then it's DJ, and then you have that 7-footer in Warren Washington.
Is it still DJ?
No, it's not. But I think when you're looking at it on paper, that's what it should be.
Okay, yeah.
Dev shouldn't be a top 5 as far as scoring options go. He was never supposed to be that.
Yeah.
But the reality is he's 2. Shane said in the chat, I think they're 1 and 2 right now. I don't know how you can argue anything else. DJ, Frankie, Warren have all been wildly inconsistent. Guys like Jeremiah Neal, Alonzo, like all your bench guys don't get it consistent enough minutes. And when they do, Austin Nunez is the only one you can rely on who didn't do anything tonight. No
Neither
points
did
from
Lou.
Austin. Did he? Yeah. Austin saw the floor a little bit, I believe.
I think 12 minutes, no points.
Yeah, Luther and Austin didn't score. So like you can't trust any of them. Joe's right. Someone does have to step up. But as of right now, the only ones that you can rely on to even get you double-digit points in any given night, I think, are Des and Dev.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I do want to talk a little bit more about DJ just because obviously this suspension coming off of it, getting back into the starting lineup, 5 points pretty early on in the game and then really went quiet.
Yeah.
Like at this point, I think the expectation for DJ is this. I think that's what it has to be, right? The expectation is you're going to get a decent first half, maybe 5 to 10 points, and then he's going to be quiet in the second half. I don't know what it is. That like period of time at halftime for him, something happens, or maybe he's a player that once he's in a groove, he has to stay in that groove and he can't get it back.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I've never seen, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen something like this in college basketball where you get a guy who is so clearly a talented basketball player who we've seen go for 20 plus points a night. But over the course of the last 5 games, I'm going to give you a drop in the bucket, and then you're not going to hear from me in the second half.
Yeah, it is pretty confusing because, I mean, like you said, we know what he's capable of. We saw it in the Pac-12 tournament last year. Obviously ASU lost that game. That was a win for 90% of it, and then everything fell off in the last couple minutes. The reason that they win that game, if they did, was because of DJ.
Absolutely.
We know what DJ is. Shit, considering the guard situation last year, he was the one that I think you could rely on the most.
He was your one last year.
Marion was gone for most of it. That whole situation was just like he was the guy you had to rely on. And I don't know if it's now he's in a situation where he isn't the guy you have to rely on, and maybe he he like doesn't know what to do in that situation where he's not the number one guy.
Yeah.
But he had that opportunity to be the number one guy usually, or early on he wasn't. I am conflicted with it because on one hand, you're right. You can't expect anything more from him at this point because he hasn't given you a reason this season to expect anything more. But on the other side, like you can't lower that expectation for him.
Nah.
He does need to produce more, and he would tell you that. I know he would tell you that. Bobby would tell you that.
I want to like seriously say something right now because there have been times on this show where I've really come after DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ, we talked to him on the show. He's a great dude. He's a great basketball player. And DJ, I think, would be the very first one to tell you straight up, like, I am not playing as well as I need to be playing. And you look back at that whole suspension situation that occurred. A lot of it, like, again, and I think he would tell you, he's just frustrated with the way he's playing. Yeah. And he is a competitive dude, and he wants to be playing better basketball than he's playing.
Yeah, and then you mount that on top of the whole team not playing great basketball.
And he wants to be a leader.
Supposed to be a leader, exactly. I think that doesn't excuse whatever led to him getting suspended, but I think explains probably why it got to that point. Obviously, we don't know what happened, so it's hard to speak to, but just generically. Yeah, man, it's got to be frustrating for him, but we know also the second half of last year was not great for DJ.
But it was great for Marion.
It was great for Marion, but that didn't matter because once it hit the Pac-12 tournament, the motherfucker was on. DJ was on. So it's not good. Like, obviously, he needs to start scoring now. I don't want to just hope that he shows up in the Pac-12 tournament. But you can't lose hope with DJ. I understand people wanting Austin to start. As great as Austin's been, he didn't score anything in the minutes he got tonight.
He didn't take a shot tonight.
So, which is not something I ever thought we would see from Austin, but it is what it is. The reality is, this is what you got. This is who he is. This is your roster. I don't know. It's tough. And, I mean, I understand people want him to come off the bench, but he hasn't shown that he's producing.
At this point,
you want scoring off the bench, but he's not scoring.
Yeah.
So the only scoring getting off the bench is fucking Austin.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Do it tonight.
I don't think DJ is going to be coming off the bench anytime soon, just because you're not getting any more. It's not like there's anybody
today. He won't.
It's not like there's anybody coming off the bench that is providing offensive scoring. Kind of to your point, I do have a very interesting question for you about DJ. Before we get to that, though, I want to tell everybody about Underdog Fantasy. Guys, it's a great way to make some money, and it's easy to get started. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app. Sign up with promo code PHNX, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit up to 100 bones. Shawn, I don't know about you. I love the pick'em feature that they have. You can combine NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL. You could throw in some esports in there. There are some ways that you can combine stuff to make 10, 20 times your money. It feels too easy. Almost.
No, 100%. I mean, the interface is so easy. They don't do all this odd stuff. They just got like multiplication, which is much more.
Well, and I'm like, personally, the best part of Underdog Fantasy for me is I know there are a lot of people that want to like place bets.
Yeah.
Right. And then either you do it blindly or you have to get off the app and then you have to go to Google and you have to look at like, okay, this is what they've done for the last 5-10 games. You have to go one by one. The cool thing about Underdog Fantasy is you can literally click on the player and it has like their stats from the last handful of games. So it makes it like that much more fun because you don't have to go off and check stuff. Or there are times where you'll be placing bets on like a different app and you won't even look. You're like, I don't want to have to get off the app and go Google it. Like it's an easier way to try and cook up something really, really cool.
Plus, on any given night, like if there's only one basketball game you like to bet on or to get pick'ems from, you can go to a hockey game and get some from there. Football, like I love that part of it. I also love the drafts because sometimes I just like pretending I have friends, and so it's a cool little way to just do like a daily fantasy type of thing with your friends. Have a little draft, have a little friendly competition at any given point. Yeah, I love the Underdog Fantasy app. Bark, bark.
Guys, again, sign up with promo code PHNX, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit up to 100 bones.
And as always, it is a 1-to-1. 1 bone equals $1. And you can take all those bones, and you can reinvest them, and once you get your winnings, in some comfy more furniture.
Yes, sir.
I know we got some people here going to need new furniture soon. I was sitting in that recliner trying not to fall asleep during the snooze fest. Tough. That was a lot of that game.
It's tough.
It's the best furniture ever.
It's comfy, it's affordable, and it's easy to find.
The streets are saying that King Henry I, his throne was made by more furniture. The streets are saying, I cannot confirm or deny because it's not my information. It's coming from the streets. It's coming from the streets. So don't get mad at me. If it's not true, you get mad at the streets. But what is true is that More Furniture is amazing. Check them out at morefurniture.com. That's morfurniture.com for the best furniture in the Valley. Not much more to it than that. Check them out.
Before we get into Aftertaste, I want to bring up that question that I had for you about DJ Horne.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this isn't the scenario, but if you could pick, DJ Horne starts to play like we know DJ Horne can for the rest of the regular season, but come Pac-12 tournament play, you get what you're currently getting from him. Would you choose that, or would you choose a scenario where DJ continues to produce as poorly as he has over the course of the last 4 games and change, and come Pac-12 play, he turns it on?
Oh, man, I would much rather have him in Pac-12 play when it matters. Fuck, yeah. Because, I mean, right now... Yeah.
But at that point, you, depending on how many games you lose down the stretch, whatever happens in Pac-12 play, like, unless you win it all, it doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot.
Yeah, but are we not already in that spot?
No, I don't think so.
I think
you're teetering.
I don't think that losing I don't think, like, not winning a game in the Pac-12 tournament gets you in the tournament, gets you into March Madness.
It does. If you win 2 of your last 3.
Well, yeah. So that's but I don't think you can expect them to win 2 of the last 3.
No, but maybe you can if DJ Horne's playing. That's why it's more of an interesting question.
That's fair. So, I would rather have him playing great in the postseason.
Okay.
Every time. People are bringing up something interesting in the chat that I hadn't really thought of, is the prospect of DJ coming off the bench to play second units and thus presumably playing worse teams, worse players. Do you think that would matter? Or do you think this is more just like a mental thing as opposed to just the talent he's playing?
You're talking, say that one more time.
So, like, someone in the chat, I don't remember who mentioned it, but, Chris, he mentioned that, like, Verge had the same issue, played him against the second unit, and he thrived in that role. Do you think that DJ would benefit from playing against second units? Not necessarily coming off the bench, not having a starting job, but more just that idea of straight up playing against second units.
I mean, I don't think it matters. Like, to be quite frank with you, like, I think
that's kind of
depending on who you have in the game, like, it's all a mind game, right?
Yeah.
Like, the tactics and the players that Bobby has in his starting 5, it's not like he just throws these guys out there because they're the best 5 players on the roster. Like, they're the best 5 for that specific matchup, right? Like, we can agree that Luther Muhammad is the best defensive player on this team, but he comes off the bench. We can agree that, like, Austin Nunez probably has the best energy of anybody on the team, but he comes off the bench. Like, every single one of these players is the best at something, and there's a reason that Bobby has them where they do. I think DJ's just in a funk, and it happens, right? It's not just college basketball. It's not just Arizona State. It's not just DJ Horne. Like, you look at players all across the country in college basketball and the NBA, they get in funks. That's just basketball sometimes. He's going to get out of it, and, like, I'm not too worried about it. It just, you're getting to a point in the season where, like, you're like, this needs to end sooner rather than later because these games are going to start to mean something. We've already talked about how deadly that final stretch of 4 games is with Utah, UCLA, Arizona, and USC in some order there. Like, you got to win these next 4 of 5, presumably because you're going to lose those next 3 or you expect to lose those 3. So you just need him to show up.
Yeah.
I don't care if that comes in the starting lineup, the bench, the rafters. I don't care. Like, you just got to start playing better basketball.
Yeah.
And, like, he knows it. Everybody knows it.
Listen, I don't know. I hesitate to, like, look past a team and suggest that you can experiment against them. But you have some, like, weaker opponents coming up. I guess you can't call Stanford weak because the motherfuckers are just weird. But I'm curious, like, I don't think Bobby will at any point, but I mean, people are mentioning in the chat. I think it would be more of like a mentality thing to see if it's whether it's like a wake up call or maybe like more he feels more responsibility, kind of leading the second unit. I just at the point where I feel like you got to do something different. Like, I don't necessarily know that it would make the team better or anyone would benefit from it, but if DJ is not producing like this. Tonight's performance does not get you a win against the majority of the teams in this conference.
But look, like in Chris in the chat, a funk for the whole season virtually. No, not necessarily. You look at this team; we were like banging on the table for this team to be an AP top 25 team with only 2 losses at one point in the season. Guess what? They did that with DJ Horne in the starting lineup for every single one of those games. Like, DJ Horne is not a bad basketball player. DJ Horne is just an inconsistent basketball player.
Yeah.
And you can he can get there, right? He doesn't have to learn how to play basketball. He doesn't have to learn to be efficient. He just has to learn to be a little bit more consistent. And that is just, it's going to take time. Like, he's still a young basketball player.
Yeah.
Like,
and you look at his numbers outside of conference play, because conference play is really where he struggled. Interestingly, Alcorn State, he scored 4 points. But Colorado and Stanford, he scored 8 and 7. But outside of that, second game of the season against NAU, 25 points. Against SMU, 22. He scored 19 against Michigan, 15 against Grambling, 12 against VCU. So he's a guy, he's still averaging 11 points per game. Like, this is a guy who we know can produce, and like, he has this year. Like, so it's definitely frustrating, but this is just who he is. He did it last year too.
yeah.
All the guards did it last year. They just had these moments.
This is just college basketball.
It's not good, and it's not, like, I don't want to say unacceptable, but it's not really.
It's not the
acceptable.
NBA. You can't expect these guys to be on every single.
They're also literally kids. Like, they're all.
And in the NBA, they're not even on. They're not even on every single night in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Head ass with 6 points. God.
He got ejected though, didn't he?
Aftertaste. Yeah,
Did we
but he
figure
had
that?
6 in the fourth.
Oh, I didn't realize that's when he got ejected.
Yeah, it's not like he got ejected. I don't want to talk about Donovan Mitchell. Whatever. Let's get an aftertaste. Shawn, we're going to keep it with an oldie but a goodie. What'd you throw it this evening?
I
didn't like that.
It was like a protein shake. I didn't enjoy the taste of it, but I knew it was good for me, and it was better than just taking straight protein. Like, it could have definitely been worse. Yeah, I'm gonna go protein shake. It was good for us. We needed it.
Yeah,
even if we
absolutely.
didn't want it and we didn't like the way it tasted, we needed it.
I'm going to keep it with the kind of fitness like area, I guess. I'm going to go with a little bit of pre-workout. Not for the effects of pre-workout, right? But like, you got to get ready.
Yeah.
This was a game where you're like, you needed this just to get your bearings down, because you've got a stretch of games that are going to be super, super important down the stretch. So you take the pre-workout, you get ready for what's to come.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? You don't like sulk in it. You don't go like do half your workout and then go back and get more pre-workout. You take it, you put it behind you, you go have a great workout. That's exactly what ASU basketball needs to do moving forward.
I was gonna say it tasted like an OG sleepy time, but those things actually taste good. Melatonin is a good one.
I hate melatonin.
So do I. I don't necessarily enjoy the experience of melatonin, but you need to sleep sometimes. Like, you need a dub, even if you don't. I know. It's only going to take you so far. This dub is not getting you into the tournament. It's not getting you a full night's sleep.
You're right.
But you needed it to, at that moment. You've been fighting. You've been punching the air.
What's liquid melatonin?
Liquid melatonin?
Yeah, is that a thing?
I don't know. Maybe water with melatonin in it. I don't fucking know.
Thanks, Shawn. I appreciate you playing along. Guys, there is another home basketball game this weekend. Okay, ASU plays the Oregon Ducks. The Ducks come to town. ASU's had their number as of late, so might want to go to the game. And if you want to pregame that ASU basketball game, maybe you should stop at Illegal Pete's, grab some food, grab some margaritas. I'd say maybe an hour before tip. The weather has been phenomenal as of late. True. Go check out Illegal Pete's, whether it be before the game or for the Super Bowl, guys, because the big game is coming up, and Illegal Pete's is your go-to spot for all the pregame materials you're going to need. Fuel up during their happy hour all day on February 12th. Watching the game from home, guys, Illegal Pete's is going to bring the party to you.
Yeah, they are. And if you want to be the best dressed person at Illegal Pete's or in any room you are in, or maybe you're outside, so you'd be the best dressed person on the planet.
We outside,
and we outside in some bad birdie. It's the best golf apparel on the planet. They just dropped 6 new polos, 3 new quarter zips, 2 new hats, in addition to all of the stuff that they already had. Man, woman, child. It's unbelievable. Check them out. It's just. The thing that I hate about these ad reads is sometimes you can only say that something is the best on the planet in so many ways, because our sponsors are like, we got the best burritos on the planet, we got the best golf apparel on the planet, we got the best betting app on the planet. It just is what it is. If we tell you to do it, just fucking do it. Listen to us. We know what we're talking about.
That is by far. You know,
we tell you to go to Illegal Pete's, just fucking go.
That takes the cake.
Yeah,
We've had a lot of great ad reads on this show. That one right there might be the best.
If we tell you to
to do it,
fucking do it. I'm telling you to wear some Bad Birdie. So go to badbirdiegolf.com, enter promo code PHNX_sports15 for 15% off your order, and fucking do it. Just get some Bad Birdie.
Bad Birdie?
Get it on you.
There you go. Let's get to the Bobby board before we get out of
board.
here. See what's up next for Arizona State. You've got the Ducks on Saturday, and then you've got the stretch that we were talking about. Stanford, Cal, Colorado games that ASU is going to be favored in all of them. They're going to need to win, and I feel like it starts on Saturday against Oregon.
Yeah,
that's what's going to keep you down the stretch.
Yeah. Shane, trust me, I was not going to let the show end without talking about what you just mentioned, so we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, this Oregon game is a challenge because Oregon is been coming on recently. They've been playing pretty good basketball, and I don't know if you knew this. After ASU beat them, they beat a team called the University of Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah, they did.
And if you don't know anything about the University of Arizona Wildcats, they are really good at the sport of basketball. So that was a big win for them. That's not a bad team. They started slow, but it's a really, really good team. We'd like we talked about. That's a team you're going to be competing for that 4th seed in the conference with. So that's a huge game. But after that, like I said, Stanford is a weird team, man. They play good teams.
They beat Utah
tonight. They're saying in the chat. Joe said in the chat, sneaky scary. That is not a game you can look past at all. And I don't think they will. This is a team that I think we and probably everybody expected to be a lot better because of the talent they have on their roster. And I think they're starting to kind of figure it out. That's a tough game. So look at that. Cal, you got to beat. Colorado, you got to beat. Utah, you got to beat.
Yeah, if you beat Cal, or if you lose to Cal, I'm folding it. We're not doing it.
Yeah, we're done.
You especially need to beat Stanford so that the pattern here is dead.
And also so the tree will die, fucking finally.
Yeah.
Death to the Stanford tree, as always.
You lose to Stanford, though, I'm convinced that there is a pattern, and it is that you double the losses every row.
Oh, dear God. Don't even, I swear to, oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. That means they'll beat Oregon at least.
Yeah, in theory. Yeah, I guess. But you'd lose the last 8.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, so you got to beat Stanford so that the pattern,
just so we know the pattern.
Yeah, just so you know that the trend in the pattern is dead. Is there a game on here, Shawn, outside of Oregon, specifically looking at those last 8, that is the quote unquote maybe most important game?
Yeah, I mean,
in your mind.
Obviously those last 3, U of A, UCLA, USC, are all really important, but I feel pretty confident those 3 are going to take the top 3 in the conference. That Utah game is huge. Just because Utah is one of they've been playing like the better teams in the conference, I guess, and obviously they lost to Stanford, but that is that other team that's going to be dancing up around that 4th seed spot. So outside of those 3, obviously really, really important games at the end, that Utah one is big. And then also, it just feels like we need to beat Colorado now.
In everything.
Yeah. I hope Prime and Kenny are both there. That'd be really fun. But yeah, I just kind of, I don't know what it is. I kind of hate Colorado.
Yeah, I do too.
And by I don't know what it is, I mean, I know exactly what it is, but I'm not getting into all that.
You don't want me getting started on that?
But that Utah win our game would be, again, outside of those last 3. Those last 3 are the 3 best teams in the conference. It'd be great to get a win over any of them. It'd be huge for the resume. Outside of that Utah win is huge. Our game is huge.
Agreed. Shawn, any final thoughts before we get out of here on what we saw tonight? Or you want to talk about Jemima
Neal's hair, man? What are we doing? He got a lot of minutes in the first half too. Like, I don't know. I like the braids. You don't look as much like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander anymore, but I love the listen.
I wish he'd start playing like
from one fro guy to another. Although I did just tell Totri I might cut my hair. We'll see. I respect it. I can only dream to have locks like that.
Me too, honestly. I don't think I could pull it off. Guys, we appreciate you tapping in.
Yes, we do.
9 p.m. on a Thursday. That's going to do it for us tonight. I know it wasn't the most exciting basketball game in the world.
It's 9 p.m., which means a Pac-12 game just tipped off.
Did it really?
Yes. I forget who it is. It's just a California game.
Oh, God.
I mean, U of A, Oregon tipped off 30 minutes ago.
Who's winning that game?
Ooh, I'll tell you in a second.
U of A and Oregon. Ooh.
The
Wildcats are winning? Don't throw that up in here.
I don't know what even this is. Throwing out gang signs.
It's disgusting.
Hoodlum.
God damn it, Damon. If you enjoyed the content, give us a follow at PHNX Sun Devils. You can follow me on social at Anthony_Tochi. You can follow Shane, the man in the chat, at Shane Deef. You can follow Shawn DePaz at Shawn_DePaz.
Telling you what to do as always.
We'll see you guys tomorrow for a Friday Fun Day live at 2 p.m. But for now, enjoy the rest of your thirsty Thursday. Crack one open and get a good night's sleep, y'all. Peace.